extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by the roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I am Craig L. Hayes. Today is, 16th of November. November, sorry about that. October 16th, 2024. We're getting closer and closer to election time, and President Trump becoming the 47th president after he's been the 45th. Kind of unusual, but it has happened before. Anyhow, today's subject is going to be the topic of assimilation. Assimilation. It kind of dovetails a little bit into something we were talking about earlier on diplomacy and such a day or two ago. But, assimilation, we got to talk about assimilation, but not in the type that, we see in the Star Trek Borg stuff where everyone becomes assimilated, everyone becomes nothing more than little bee workers for the bee queen, for the hive. That's not the type of assimilation we're talking about here. We're talking about assimilating into American culture, assimilating into what makes America America. And the hardest part that I find, and the people that do not want to assimilate, the people who refuse to, in many instances, especially when they get into enclaves and their population starts to grow in any way, shape, or form, is the Muslim community, is people who have faith in Islam. They don't want to assimilate. They want their religious beliefs pushed on everybody else. Why is it that Europe has opened the doors to all of this, and look what's happening there? We've done it. We have enclaves of it happening, such as Dearborn, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Places that are pockets were heavily Muslim influenced, and there's problems. And eventually, the Muslims become the majority in those little communities, and they take over city councils and stuff, and then they go ahead and they say, well, we're enacting Sharia law in our community because that's what we're going to go by. Sharia law is a violation of our Constitution. They have no right, no freedom to implement their religious belief of Sharia law on anybody, even if they are all Muslim in their community. The laws of the state of Michigan or Minnesota, or, take your pick, any state in the union. And the Constitution and the federal laws in this land take far more precedence and have far more jurisdiction than any Sharia law can ever have. But they don't agree. They think that because they have a majority and they've taken over an area that's that. You know, I have a solution for it. Ship them back to where they all came from. Fix that problem right now. Let's not, you know, we are all told we have to be tolerant. We don't have to tolerate that kind of crap. I'm sorry, we don't. And let's look what other nations do in this world. China, you're not allowed to have the Uyghurs are a Muslim faction there in China, and they are enslaved, they are imprisoned. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. Mine is if you want to go and have that religious belief, but you don't want that in your country, then send them to where that religious belief is totally tolerated, accepted, and promoted. Most of other Asia, as far as Japan, Islam, and the Muslim, it's outlawed. They know the problems that it causes, and it's not allowed there. Christianity, in all of its forms, are. Judaism, completely acceptable. Buddhism, Hinduism, perfectly acceptable. Bring it in. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. You know why it's acceptable in that country, even though it is mainly a Buddhist country. Because they believe in pretty much a lot of religious freedoms like we do here. But they understand that Islam is destructive to the fiber of their culture, to the fiber of their nation. It will destroy their nation if it's left unchecked. So, what we're seeing is Asia and most of the other Asian nations, they are in that same vein. They don't allow Islam. So if it is left unchecked and Islam is allowed to do what it wants to do, is conquer the world and make the world is Muslim, and these nations don't allow it, which will end up doing in 100 or 200 or 500 years, if it marches forward unchecked, you'll have Asia, which doesn't allow Islam, and then you'll have the rest of the world. How will that look? How will that work? I'll tell you right now, Islam will go to war with them to force them into it, because Islam is a religion of force, intimidation, death, all the things we've already talked about. But anyways, that is what's going on over in that part of it. Now, Americans, I wrote a note down here, and I can't read. I can't read my own handwriting here. I just wrote a quick note down. America. Let's talk about America a little bit. America. We have the First Amendment. Everyone's allowed to worship God according to the dictates of their heart. 100% agree with that. And you know what? In this nation, I believe that even Islam can find a place in this nation. We allow all nations, all religions, to come here and worship because we have that First Amendment. A lot of people say, well, that's the problem with the First Amendment. We need to do something about it. No, the First Amendment is just fine. It is just fine and dandy. The First Amendment gives you the right to worship how you please. Now, just like free speech, sometimes people say things that you don't like. It doesn't mean you're allowed to shut them up. Unless you're a Democrat, then you try to shut up anybody who doesn't believe in what you believe. Fact, fact, and fact again. Over the last several years, we've been watching that. So don't even try to dispute it. Now, the rub of total rights, total freedoms like that, is you have to sometimes put up with religious beliefs or allow beliefs that you don't quite agree with. Not saying you have to agree with everything. Not saying that all religious beliefs, as long as you can do whatever you want according to your religion, is right. Do we allow sacrifice? Do we allow human sacrifice or anything like that? No. We do to a certain degree. It's called abortion, where we allowed, Democrats to sacrifice children. But that's another subject, and I am going to talk about that one probably in the next few days. I've done a whole bunch of research on that. We're going to go into that. But anyways, you cannot wrap it around. Islam, people who believe in Islam and they want to proselyte, I have no problem with that. It's when they tell us that we have to comply with their views and their laws and their Sharia law is when I have the problem with it. Because we get to the next point. It's called cultural incompatibility. Islam is culturally incompatible with Judeo-Christian lifestyle. Not saying that what they believe in, praying 5 times a day, is detrimental to our nation, but we also don't have to take and change our culture, our Judeo-Christian culture, to satisfy their desires and needs. We don't get rid of eating bacon. That would be, that's good enough to go to war on as far as I'm concerned. Bacon, just because they don't believe in it and they find it a clear violation of their religion. If you don't want to eat bacon, if you don't want to eat pork, don't do it. Don't tell me if I can or can't. See, that's the problem. They have a belief that they want to tell people what they can and can't do. A lot of religions will do that. I'm not naive to any of this. But at the same time, they don't have the right to tell you what you can and can't do. So, do they assimilate into the culture, into the way our nation operates? Do they assimilate? They don't assimilate. There are some that do, but they only do that when their numbers are small and they play along. But once they become a majority in any place, they go ahead and they want to try to take over and implement their religious beliefs on America. I'm sorry, but we don't allow anyone to implement their religious beliefs on anybody else. And Sharia law and the Constitution of the United States are at complete odds. And anyone who promotes that, let's see if we can ship them back to where they came from, or ship them to a country where they do believe in that, or something. We're not going to allow you to destroy our nation. We can't allow that. So we understand that Islam is incompatible with the Constitution of the United States and our Judeo-Christian culture. So why is it that Biden, Harris administration, Obama, Democrats all want as many Muslims from all these nations that hate us to come to America and enjoy the freedom we have? Well, let me ask you this. Do these people coming here, do they value America? Do they take in and respect America? Do they respect our customs? Do they respect our culture? Do they respect it? And the answer to that is no. So why do Democrats, especially the Biden, Harris, Obama group, want so many Muslims in this country? And the answer is very, very easy. And it's something you really can't even deny. The answer is Democrats hate this nation as much as the Muslims do too. And if they work together, they figure they can both pull down this nation. They all figure they can destroy uh, our Constitution, our laws, and implement whatever else they want to do after that. See, the problem is, even if they were to accomplish that, even if, say, the Muslims all helped, or those of Islam helped the Democrats do the work they wanted, destroy our Constitution, re-implement and implement a new Constitution with positive rights, and rule like China does, have one leader that has total control, a dictatorship basically. Eventually, Islam and the Democrats, those who want tyranny, are going to have to fight it out who has final supreme rule over this land. Now, is that what we want? Is that where we're headed? Is that something we're supposed to be doing? We understand that these things are incompatible with America. Communism, Marxism, socialism, progressivism, fascism, Islam, Sharia law are all incompatible with America's constitutional system and our Judeo-Christian culture. So, what do? We have to recognize that these people are destructive. They hate America. They are traitors, treasonous, and they are destructive. And they literally want to destroy our nation. Maybe not every single person from Islam. Maybe not every single Democrat. But the theology and ideology of both the Democrat Party and Islam does want to bring America down and destroy it and reform it in something that they like a lot better. So hopefully we get some control over this system, and in less than 20 days we have an election and we can start turning the tide with Donald Trump, and we start grabbing the people that are illegal aliens, people that shouldn't be here, a lot of them Muslims, stuff like that. We ship them back to their countries. We ship everybody out. We deport everybody, all 20 million. Don't tell me it can't be done. Bill Clinton deported 12 million illegal aliens in his presidency. 12 million. Donald Trump did about 950,000 in his first 4 years. But Donald Trump is the bad guy. Well, Donald Trump might have to be the bad guy. Donald Trump might have to be the big old meanie pants that everyone says he is to get our country back in line, to fix so many of the things that the Democrat Party and a lot of you rhino Republicans that are just as disgusting have broken. So the time's coming. We're getting closer. And all we can do is hope, pray, and do our parts. Tell a friend. Get everybody out there you can. And once again, all you people who are sitting on the sidelines, all you evangelical Christians, born-again Christians, Jews, anybody who's sitting on the sideline because you don't like Donald Trump because he's not quite strong enough on certain things, aspects of his presidency, or he doesn't believe in certain things like you do. Yeah, the best thing to do is sit back and do nothing and let somebody who wants to destroy your rights, your religious freedoms, to destroy your right to own guns, basically take the Bill of Rights and throw it in a trash can and then implement her Marxist ideology on you. Remember, this is the woman who had her ideal piece was destroying, when she first became a senator, was to basically destroy the First Amendment. That was her centerpiece legislation. So let her go in there. Just sit back and let so-called God decide who's going to win. Don't do your part. Be lazy, be stupid, and let your rights just disappear. The Marxist Democrat Party is evil, but to do nothing in the face of evil is evil itself. So, until we meet again, Mr. Talbot Snow, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.